what we're talking about today is a holistic approach to prosperity. And when we say, I am prosperous, the fact of the matter is we live in an abundant universe, right? Everybody agrees with that? Mm-hmm. Okay. But why is it that sometimes it just seems like there's not enough? So what we're going to be doing in this six-series program is we're going to work to develop what I came up with, this is my own little creation, a holy, as in whole, holy, as in divine, prosperity consciousness. Because that's where it all starts, right? And my name is Anita, and I am prosperous. And the book of Mark, chapter 11, verse 24 says, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. And that's the key word, right? Believe. Because what we believe is what comes to pass. So today, session 1, we're going to be talking about a holistic approach, what that means, and we're going to be talking about prosperity in and of itself, the whole thing of what is the whole meaning of prosperity. So first of all, and this is just a real brief, what we're going to be covering, what is holism and a holistic approach. We're going to define prosperity and talk about an abundance mindset, and a little, think about this as we go along. In God we trust. Where do you see that?
Money.
Mm-hmm. And then we're going to discover or discern our personal beliefs regarding oneness and prosperity. And we're going to talk about the unity of everything. And we're going to ask ourselves, and this is going to be for each one of us individually, do our current beliefs need some modification? Maybe they need a little adjustment. And then we're going to briefly review what's coming up in the next sessions. So, this is a holistic approach, and like it says on the flyer, our lives are not lived in compartments. We don't say, okay, now we are here, and so we think this way, and we do this. And well, I mean, if you have a job, you have certain things that you have to do, and certain behaviors that are expected. But still, everything works together. I mean, what we do here on Sundays flows into what we do during the week, and that is why we come here. So, where do we go from here? Let's start by talking about Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore, and he wrote a book entitled Prosperity. And what he said in this book was, when the spiritual body is established in consciousness, here and here, its strength and power is transmitted to the visible body and to all things that we touch in the world around us. We shall serve for the joy of serving, and prosperity will flow to us and through us in streams of plenty. You know, there is no lack in the universe. And when we're talking about holistic prosperity, we have to ask, what is holism? Well, the dictionary says holism means total or entire, complete, or in other words, holism is all or everything. Dictionary.com says holism is the theory that parts of a whole are in intimate interconnection, such that they cannot exist independently or cannot be understood without reference to the whole, which is thus regarded as greater than the sum of its parts. Ever heard the saying, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts? Eric Butterworth, one of my favorite authors, said, God is the transcendent whole of things, which you, each one of us, is an individualized part. And that's why I love that statement of being so much, and we'll talk about that a little more later. And here's a real world example of holism. Now we're in Clinton Township right now, and I live in Rochester Hills. And Clinton Township's in Macomb, Rochester's in Oakland County. And those counties are just a couple of the many counties that are in the state of Michigan, right? And then Michigan is one of many states that are in the United States of America. And the United States of America is part of North America. And North America is one of the continents in the world. And the world, each continent, is an individualized part of the whole that is the world. Just as we are individualized expressions of the one that is the whole. We are the only beings on earth that are capable of doing what we do. I mean, animals work by instinct. We have choice. And the earth is an individualized part of the solar system. And this could go on to infinity and beyond. Right? But that's what I'm trying to get you to really think about is the distinction between the whole and you. Because the distinction is really not that great. Because if you look at quantum physics has discovered that they used to say that atoms were the smallest, right? That's not true. Atoms are made up of space. There is space. There is nothing in the universe that is truly solid. So the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And here's another real world example. That's a whole car, right? Mm-hmm. Would you rather have picture number one? I mean, it's not a great car, right? But would you rather have the picture number one or picture number two? That's a whole car. So the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So we are individualized expression of that one, but that one is greater than all of us. And it is for us, the more that we can connect with that oneness that we are, the more power we allow to work through us. Let's everyone say this affirmation. I am one with divine life.
I like that. I am. That's what I use in my meditation.
Good. And so those two words, I am, are so very, very powerful. And yet, my guess is, because I know I'm guilty, the words I am are not always followed by the kindest of words or the most uplifting kind of words. And I'm speaking of when I speak to myself. And that's one of the things, that's one of the main things it's like the whole mustard seed faith thing. It fits right in because there's a beginning. And when I was first introduced to these principles, I'd never paid attention to what I was saying to myself. I mean, why would I? That's not important, is it? But yet, that's the most important. It is our mission to express all that we can, that greater power and presence can imagine for us to be. Reverend Linda Martello Whitsitt puts it like this: I am divine life, divine love, and divine wisdom expressed. And that's how we need to start looking at ourselves. And that's the point of being whole, is looking at ourselves as the divine beings that we truly are. Because the whole of us as individualized expressions of the divine is greater than the sum of its parts. It's greater than this individualized expression. So when we're looking at this holistically, we're saying that everything is connected and everything is indivisible. What does indivisible mean?
Can't divide.
Can't be separated. So we are never, ever, not even for a nanosecond, separate from that oneness. We're going to be talking about mind, body, spirit, our emotional and relational prosperity, our financial prosperity, but none of that is separate from the one. It is all interrelated. So, I'm positing that if you are not if I am not, I'll speak for myself, if I am not experiencing prosperity in all areas of my life, it's because that area of my life I have not connected to the one. I have allowed it to become separate because it isn't separate. But if I don't recognize that interconnection, then I don't get that power. It's like holding the electrical cord in your hand and saying, why isn't this device that requires the electricity working? Because I haven't plugged in. So that's what we're going to be doing. And I love this, it's from Ramadasa, a 17th century Hindu mystic. Can someone read this for me?
Sure. Wherever you can cast your glance, it is before you. You, in fact, see within it. It is both inside and outside. Where we feel it is not, it immediately manifests itself. I can't see because now your head's in whatever object we take in hand, it is nearer to us than that.
I want some feedback. What do you get from that? What do you get from that? Anyone?
The power of intention.
Tara? What is it?
I think mindfulness too on that first one.
Mm-hmm.
If you're casting your vision on something, you're mindful of it.
Wherever you cast your glance, it is before you.
You can have whatever you see.
So, and whatever you see is you have created. You see with it. You cannot see what is not within you. You cannot experience what is not within you. If I'm experiencing lack in any area of my life, then that tells me that there is an area in me where I am lacking, that I'm not connecting with that all that is. So consequently, that plug is not in the wall.
It reminds me, Anita, of
Yes.
the kingdom of God is within, which is how I most easily identify. Jesus also said the kingdom of God is all around us.
Right.
So it's within us, and it's without, for lack of a better, it's
Yes.
the whole thing. It's
That's-
the kingdom.
Perfect. Perfect. Because, and that's so true. The kingdom is within, but the kingdom is also without. And what as within, so without. And that's what this is saying. So I love this statement of being, and I want to dissect it a little bit. So God is all. So this, when we're talking about holistic, so this table, I mean, and this is like Course in Miracles stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
This table is what?
Not a table.
Right. What is it?
It's energy.
Yeah. And it is that, and it is the energy that is divine. So God is all, both visible and invisible. There is only one presence, one power, one mind, that is all. And this one that is all is perfect. Perfect life, perfect love, perfect substance. And what are we? What are you? Let's hear it.
Individualized expression of God.
Indeed. And as individualized expressions, we are also ever one with that perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. And that's what we really need to get. If there's any lack anywhere in our life, all we need to do is go back to this and remind ourselves that we are individualized expressions of God. I've gotten so, I say that to myself so frequently because I need to remind myself. And it says it in the Bible. 1 Corinthians 3. Do you not know you are God's temple? For God's temple is holy, and that temple you are. So often it seems like we forget how holy we are. I am an, oh, this is really interesting. This is a quote, and then you'll see who said it. I am, as an individualized expression of God, I am God. So it's easy to play in. They say God is in all things. So if God is in me, then I am in God. Therefore, I am God, and God does not exist without me. Who said that?
Morgan Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
So he played the role of God in Bruce Almighty, which is it's a great movie, hysterical movie. I would highly recommend you go back
Yeah.
and watch it.
It's like very insightful.
It
Very insightful.
really is. And that's the point. The point is when we say I am an individualized expression of God, that means we are, it doesn't mean that God is separate from us or God is this super being that we can never be. We are God. God lives in and through and as us, yes.
Do you think he was a unity follower?
He certainly was a New Thought follower, whether it was unity or not, I don't know.
I like to think of it as if God is love and all those other nouns, God needs us to be loving, because you can't express love unless it's through us.
That's right.
So-
That's right. We are the
Or,
vehicles.
for example,
We are the vehicles.
right.
And so, as the vehicles of that one, it is for us to express as much of that one as we can. So now, all right, what about prosperity? What is prosperity? Well, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines prosperity as, Melanie, could you read that for us?
The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines prosperity as the condition of being successful or thriving. Whether we're discussing prosperity or success, as Unity 2 students, we know it's about much more than just money.
Right? Everybody agree with that?
Right.
All right, Linda, this made me think of you. Linda Ridley loves and I mean, look at all of the things that are prosperity. I mean, it's our well-being, it's our welfare, it's our security, it's the quality of life, it's health, good fortune, and so much more. Eric Butterworth, you probably know the name. He was a Unity minister. He's the one that started Detroit Unity Temple. He had a radio show. He used to draw thousands of people to his talks. And this is what he says about prosperity. Linda Geibel, will you please read this for us?
Prosperity is a way of living and thinking, and not just money or things. Poverty is a way of living and thinking, and not just a lack of money or things.
We really need to think about that. And I wanted to do this. Linda Ridley and I have talked about doing something with prosperity for Unity East for quite a while now, because we need to make sure that the way we're thinking, everyone in this church needs to make sure that the way that they are thinking is prosperous thinking. It all begins with our thoughts, right? We all know that. Yet still, what do we hear too often around here? I don't want to say it, but we do hear. Yeah, we do. We hear it. And we need to change that. So, here we are. In God we trust. Okay. The question is, how much do we trust? $1? Oh yeah. God will give me $1. No problem there. About $20. Oh yeah. Sometimes I'll give $20 to the church. Do we trust God when it comes to $50 or $100? That's the question. In God we trust, but how much do we trust? So, now we're going to get to the real nitty-gritty. Belief. I'll read this because it's kind of small. Belief is a noun, and it's an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists. The second definition is trust, faith, or confidence in someone or something. So, we're going to check out our prosperity beliefs. And what we need to do here, really, is give ourselves permission to be prosperous. It's not have prosperity, it's be prosperous. I am prosperous. One of your homework assignments for this week is to repeat to yourself as often as the thought crosses your mind. When a thought when the thought crosses your mind, you're looking at something and you think, oh, that's really nice. Oh, but it's too... I want you to stop yourself and say, I am prosperous. Get it? These are denials and affirmations. This is what we do in unity. We take what we learn, what we hear, and we put it into practice. So we're going to, and what are core beliefs? What are our beliefs about divinity, about God? And again, if I wouldn't have taken so much time to get this set up, I wanted you all to spend time on each one of these and now. So if you have the urge to write something down about what you believe about divinity, about oneness, about God, and sometimes we get all caught up in the words that we use. And if you don't like using the word God, don't use it. If you do, do. If you like spirit, use spirit. It doesn't matter. What matters is how you feel about it, how you think about it. And it's an it. It's not a he or she, it's an it. And then I want you to really, and this is an area that took me a long time to get over. How we think about ourselves. Because I'm pretty sure there might be one or two people in this room who isn't always saying nice things to themselves about themselves. And when we catch ourselves, when we start paying attention to our thoughts, and we catch ourselves saying something that's less than wonderful about ourselves, then we need to do a denial and an affirmation. You can use I am prosperous. You can use I am an individualized expression of God. You can use I am beautiful. I am. Tell yourself how wonderful you are. Because you are. You really, really are. And if you say, oh, I am, but when I did this or that, no. There is no judgment in divinity. There is only love. So it doesn't matter what you did or what was done. It is, God is love. So pay attention. And then, what is your belief about others? Actually, your belief about others stems from your belief about yourselves. So please write these down. So since we're not going to take the time to really dive into this during this session, I really would love it if you would take some time at home this week and really explore your beliefs about the divine, about yourself, about others, about the world around us, and of course, about prosperity. what does prosperity mean to you? Not just the money part, but the money part is important too. Don't ignore it. This is holistic approach. All of prosperity. So take some time, and you know how when we did the Whitestone ceremony, how we went into meditation and we asked, when we went into meditation, we asked for some guidance, for some words that would be our touchstone for this year. I would recommend that you take these questions with you, asking yourself about your beliefs into meditation, and then when you finish your meditation, have a pencil and paper, pen and paper handy, and start writing. Don't try to write. Don't think about what you're writing, just write.
Oh.
Roseanne.
I think maybe you answered my question. I'm just wondering, is this an opportunity to release some limiting beliefs or to attract what it is that we want?
It is whatever you need. And it may be both of those. So it's gonna be different. I mean, some people don't have limiting beliefs when it comes to the financial part, but they may have limiting beliefs when it comes to relationships. And that's why we're going to be talking about each of these aspects, because it's about our beliefs about ourselves, what we deserve, who we are, how we see ourselves, and how we fit into the world around us, and what we deserve, I guess, is, again, I go back to that because I went through a whole thing with myself on that. So prosperity is a mindset. It is our expectation. Expect to expand our wealth of knowledge, our wealth in relationships, our wealth of income, our wealth of wisdom. What we expect, we will receive. So we have to examine that previous slide, this slide about what are your core beliefs. This is probably the most important slide in this whole presentation. And I can't do it for you. You have to do this for yourself.
Could you put the slide back up again, please?
The other one?
Yeah.
This one?
Thank you.
Yep.
Just a reminder, this will all be on YouTube by the end of today.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Connie. What would we do without Connie?
You never have to think about that.
We don't have to think
about it.
So our prosperity mindset, this, in the book of Mark, this is really interesting, isn't it? This is that passage that I talked about today, about the man who brought his son before Jesus. The son had epilepsy. The disciples couldn't cure him. But Jesus said, all things are possible for the one who believes. And what did the man say to Jesus? He said, I believe. Please help my unbelief. And what he was saying is that I believe it's possible, but I'm not quite there yet. So please help my unbelief. And isn't that what maybe some of us need to be praying right now? We believe it's possible, We need help with that unbelief. And I think this might be a passage that some of us might want to take into meditation as well. All things are possible to the one who believes. I believe. Please help my unbelief. And how do we do that? Prayer and meditation. That's the way. And all forms of prayer have primarily one purpose, and that is conditioning or training our consciousness. You know, you don't plant the seed and then walk away from it. You nurture, you water, you weed, you care for it. You don't become an elite athlete by going to the gym once or watching it on TV. Or watching it on TV.
Ah, there goes your plan.
Blew it out of the water.
Although you do get some ideas.
It's interesting that in research and with control groups, they have found a particular skill, whatever it is.
Yep.
So you'll have a group that'll practice it for so many weeks or so many hours. You'll have a group that'll imagine they're doing these things for so many hours. So the power of the mind is so powerful that when they put the groups together, sometimes there's very little difference. Sometimes the users of imagination actually exceed the doers. Yeah.
And you know, and I'm really glad you brought that up, Gary, because that is true, and that's the point. That is the point. Our imaginations, our minds, our thoughts are so very, very, very powerful. And that's why we need to pay attention to them. We need to catch the ones that aren't so good. We need to deny those and then replace that by affirming what we do want. That's how we train our consciousness. This Bob yeah.
Carol, I heard that Tiger Woods literally visualizes the ball going into the hole when he putts. And when I have really focused and tried to do it, it's actually worked for me a few times. You know what I mean? But you know, it would take a lot of practice, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool. He sees it just.
Yep. Yes. Yes. So, I mean, our minds are extremely powerful, and we need to train them.
We were not brought up to believe that, to even know that, much less believe it.
We're not. And so we're overcoming a lifetime of programming. A lifetime. Many of us. You know, how many times, I don't know how many times I heard as a kid, money doesn't grow on trees.
Yeah. It didn't take us. I didn't pay attention.
Yeah. I mean, and I know I'm not the only one. So that's what we're doing. We're retraining our consciousness away from what we don't want to what we do want. Bob Proctor says, see yourself living in abundance and you will attract it. It always works. It works every time with every person.
And my question that I've always thrown at you is what comes first, motivation or action?
Well, you know, and that is a good question. Linda brings this up for a very good reason, because sometimes we say, oh, I'm just not motivated to do that. You know, when I feel motivated, I'll do it. And guess what? If we just do it, start it.
You guys, I'm sorry.
That's okay, Kim. Thanks for coming. If we just start it and do it, then that motivation comes from taking action. So sometimes it's that first step that, okay, I'll put on my gym shoes. Okay, I'll walk out the door.
Ooh, the sun's shining.
Okay, I'll take a walk. Sometimes that's all we need. Melanie.
I am living in so much abundance it borders on clutter.
Well, perhaps it's time to share some of you.
I have talked to a few people just, I don't want to offend anybody, Like, in fact, there's a new blouse that came in a package and there was no way it was going over my hips, but I know somebody who would love this summer blouse. So as the season moves along, Carol, I will get that.
I already have benefactors.
Less more, just accept it, move it on.
Yeah, that's okay.
And we
Thank you for the
have
thought.
to know,
I have to, you guys see my closets now.
You have to
we have
accept
to
your-
receive.
That's
You
right.
haven't
You know,
seen,
okay.
you haven't seen, she's talking about getting rid of, I have 4 closets and I live alone, 4 bedrooms, I live alone.
Then guess
And they're
what?
all- I know.
Guess what?
I can cast out some of those,
Plan
but
it
see,
out.
that's work.
Action.
It's a little action,
Action.
motivation. This is the circle.
It's on my refrigerator. Do I need to look at it more? Yes. Raise your foot and the path will appear. Love it.
I love it too.
Yeah, I just gotta really do
I'm
it.
gonna have to remember that one.
That's fine.
All
What
right.
color is it?
White.
Anybody recognize this guy?
Oh,
It's Charles,
there.
maybe.
That's Charles.
oh my gosh. When he was younger, both of them were Charles?
Both of them are Charles.
Charles Fuller.
And Agnes, can you read this for us, please?
The spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. It is right with you all the time, and the response to your faith in it, and your demands upon it. The unfailing resource is always ready to give. Pour your living words of faith into the omnipresent
Ethers. Yeah, that was the word he
and
used.
will be prosperous.
And that's the co-founder of Unity. He tells us all visible wealth is never depleted, ever. It's right with you all the time. And how does it respond to you? By your faith in it and how much demand you put upon it. We need $40,000 to finish paying off the roof.
It's really 30-something, isn't it?
But we can just round it up to 40 because we can keep the, we can use the extra.
That's right.
We can use the
Well, I
extra.
was throwing in the east side of the building.
The
that's
door.
gonna-
That's what I was just
Oh,
gonna say.
okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we're not done.
So that's still all roof
That's part of,
that you're talking about?
No.
what,
Well, it's
what,
about 30,000 for the roof,
Thank you.
but I was throwing in what we're going to be paying for the east side of the building.
we've got some
Oh,
other.
repair,
And some
repair
other-
and
And plus,
repair
we
work.
gotta have that television that
That's
she
right.
wants.
All right. Just
That's
round
right.
it
That
up,
wasn't
up,
just, it wasn't just the roof. It
We have
was the
some more
roof and
new
the east.
ideas coming your way, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what we need.
Right.
We need new thinking, new ideas. And because all that that wealth is there waiting for us. It's just waiting for us to come and claim it. For us to pour our living words of faith and know that we will be prospered. We are prospered.
Yes.
And Abraham Hicks says this, never mind what is, imagine it the way you want it to be. Increase your vibration so it is a match to your desire. Isn't that a good point?
So the way I'm seeing this is, I'm having $40,000 for church expenses. Not that I need it, I'm having it.
Yeah.
I have it. I
Affirm.
have it.
It is mine.
It's sort of like when
See
we
it
say,
as-
now there is peace on earth, that's why we put it in the
Right.
present tense.
Right. We have, in fact, that $40,000 is a drop in the bucket of what is available to us. A drop in the bucket. We want a labyrinth? Let's put in the best doggone labyrinth
Yes.
anybody's ever seen. We want a new parking lot? Let's get a new parking lot, because that parking lot is going to be filled with cars of people that are wanting to know what the heck is going on at that little church. That's the attitude and belief. We've got to see it. See it, feel it, believe it. It is already done. That's a prosperity consciousness. A prosperity consciousness says, God is all. God is only good, and God is abundance. And our manifestation is a direct result of how much we believe that. Our thoughts and feelings bring us either abundance or lack. So we're all working on the prosperity consciousness. And I do this, but it's this too. It's not just our thoughts. I'll tell you, when I first started doing affirmations, honestly, I did affirmations for several months, and then I said, you know what, this is stupid. I did. Because you know why? Because my feeling was in total disagreement with the affirmation I was saying.
Disbelief.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been seeing the music program going up.
And look at what's happening.
Yes. And it's coming more.
It's
Let's
happening.
all see it, guys. I see it. I've been seeing it.
Has anybody ever heard, speaking of that, anybody ever heard Sandra Bomar?
Her name sounds familiar.
Ooh. Check her out on YouTube. She's really good. She was at Tony's wake.
Okay.
What's her name?
Sandra Bomar. She
I
used
didn't
to sing
spell the
at
last name.
Bomar.
Just wait.
Okay.
She used to sing at Unity of Lake Orion on a regular basis. She's really good. Our state of consciousness. Well, let me have. Let's see, Mike. Can you read this for us?
Our state of consciousness determines how we perceive and experience the world. The internal source, connection to divine power, God, is the cause. The external prosperity and abundance, or its opposite, is the effect.
So it's saying the same thing in different words. God is all, God is abundance, and if we're not experiencing that, then there's a disconnect somewhere. And that's what we're working on. We're working on living from source. When our life is an expression of our inner state of connection with source, the source of our prosperity, we are free from fear and limitations, allowing us to experience abundance in all areas of life. All areas. And I think that we are experiencing abundance in many areas. We just have to tweak it a little bit so that that abundance, that prosperity, that consciousness goes beyond to include all areas, including the financial. So, previews of coming attractions. Next week, we will be going into session 2, which is mental prosperity. And you're going to notice that all of these sessions overlap. That's because it's a holistic approach. And so we're going to be talking about mental prosperity. And this is another quote from Eric Butterworth. Linda, can you read that?
Prosperity is not just having things, it is the consciousness that attracts the things. Prosperity is a way of living and thinking, and not just having money or things. Poverty is a way of living and thinking, and not just a lack of money or things.
All the same, all the same.
So it all starts not just in our thinking, but in our thinking and feeling. And like Gary was saying, the athletes that visualized doing well on the basketball court or whatever it was, didn't just think about it. They saw it. So all of us as a group, you know, when 2 or more are gathered, the power is increased. So can you imagine what we can accomplish?
Feels good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We can accomplish a lot together. And Jesus said, I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And I was just talking to somebody today who said, oh yeah, there used to be a children's program here, and it was actually doing pretty good. Oh yeah, there used to be this, there used to be that. Guess
COVID.
what? We can have it.
Well, I meant COVID changed so many things.
It did. But we need to raise our consciousness to one of prosperity. So, and then the following week we will talk, Linda will primarily be leading the session 3 on our physical prosperity. Session 4 will be talking about our spiritual prosperity. Session 5, our emotional and relational prosperity. And finally, the tippy top, the grand pièce de résistance, or however you say that, is the financial. And so we're going to, I saved that for last, so we should be ready for it. We should be more than ready. And these are just some of the books that I referenced to do all this. And just there's a lot more, and there's a lot of websites and stuff. But you know, guys, there's so much out there in regard to this, and we can do this. We can make this the most thriving, growing, happy, prosperous church that's ever been seen. And I thank you all for coming.
Yeah, and make a binder like you talked about.
Yes, yes.
Visual.
Melanie, I wanted to ask you for some help with that, if you would please. I wanted to include as part of this where we would do a vision book. Do you remember the books we used to do at Jack's
We call them
Church?
image books?
Yeah, image books.
Yes.
Well, I was hoping that we could incorporate that
Absolutely.
into these sessions.
Absolutely.
Sooner the better.
Well, if you've got,
Sooner the better.
I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Okay, so let's end with a prayer. So if everyone could just relax, take a few deep breaths. And feel that consciousness of prosperity enter and stay in every part of your body. That we are prospering not only financially, we are prospering physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, relationally. We know that presence and power can do all things through us as us. And we are so grateful. And we are so grateful for bringing this consciousness of prosperity together as one group, one power, one presence, one mind. And we know it is so. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.